Well, if you love football and you play football, you obviously support your home team. Well, this shirt I got when I went to Darlington. It was the last game of the season in 1992, and we were just above the relegation zone, and so a win would guarantee our safety in the old Division 3. And Darlington were already relegated at the time, and we lost 5-2. But fortunately, Bury lost 2-0 away to Preston, and so we stayed up, which meant we had a huge celebration. We ran onto the pitch. We almost hosted every player off the pitch in celebration, even though we lost 5-2. And this shirt was thrown, and it was thrown by Tom Kelly, the number 10 at the time, and so I've had it ever since 1992. Both my parents used to come up, and both my grandfathers were season ticket holders for over 50 years, and they used to sit just the other side of that stand, that side of the stand, in the old grandstand. So, and I can remember my first memories is about 1971, so I would have been about 6. Me and my brother were both season ticket holders, and back then all you got was a little cardboard bit of card, and you can go into any part of the ground apart from this grandstand, so the cow shed and the away end, and they just punch a little hole in your card. So we were season ticket holders for quite a few years as children. Yeah.
What do you love about the club?
Well, if you love football and you play football, you obviously support your home team. It doesn't matter whether you're in a village or a lot of these Premiership sides have got millions of supporters, but they've never actually seen them play. So Exeter has always been my passion. I've always lived in Exeter or around. So there's only one team to support, isn't there? The favourite players and why? Well, I think Tony Callow will always be in the memories of lots of people. Not only for what he did for this club, I think he was the record transfer fee back in the day when we sold him, I think, to Blackpool or somewhere. But he did come back eventually. It cost us even more money, I think. But he was a lovely chap, and I knew him outside of Exeter City as well, if you like, and especially in his late after years when he used to run a few pubs in Exeter, and then in the centre spot behind the big bank he used to. So he was a real character and a great player. Yeah. He was always the life and soul of any occasion, and always trying to make you laugh and telling jokes. In his what's that Cornish comedian called? Jethro. Yeah, so he always used to talk in the Jethro style when he used to tell his jokes. A very funny guy, and I'm sure he's sorely missed by a lot of people. Yeah.
Obviously, a great memory when you got that shirt. Are there any particular big memories that stick out as a favourite?
Well, there's so many. I mean, there's memories stick in your mind, whether they're good or bad. I remember even going on a coach, and I've written it down here because my memory is not as good. A place like Walton and Hersham, which is 1972. It was on the south coast, and I remember being on the coach with my parents. So 72, what was I, 8? And back then they used to go up and down the coach selling rosettes. You used to wear a rosette back in those days with the FA Cup on it, and rattles. You used to sell those on the coach. But obviously back then, I mean, getting to the south coast now is not brilliant, but it probably took about 6 or 7 hours to get to Walton and Hersham, and it's only 200 or 300 miles up the road. And I remember going to quite a few non-league, even to this day, isn't it? We don't do very well against non-league teams, especially away from home. And I've been to quite a few away games at non-league sides, and we haven't won. But Manchester United, I was there. I think that's got to be the highlight of every supporter, getting a 0-0 draw at Manchester United.
How big do you think that game was?
It's the biggest game Exeter City have ever had, in as much that it cleared all our debts. And we got a replay, and we got the result. I mean, irrelevant of the result, it cleared our debts. The fact we actually got a 0-0 draw, which hasn't been highlighted, I don't think, by the media when FA Cup comes up. They don't seem to remember because we were a non-league club then. It was 2005, I think it was. So yeah, that's got to be the all-time away day, I think, a 0-0.
And that's the away day. Favourite match at St James Park, maybe?
Well, because I've been supporting them for nearly 50 years, I think the atmosphere when the cowshed was still here, and we held, I think I've been here with 17,000 when we were home to Newcastle United in the 5th round of the FA Cup replay. I went to Newcastle away where we drew 1-1, and Lee Roberts scored the 84th minute equaliser, I think. That was the scariest time in football. The walk back from St James Park in Newcastle to the train station, that was a scary 1.5 mile walk back to the station, because yes. And we won 4-0 up here, didn't we, back here, and Keller got a hat-trick, I think, well, that made Leicester. But the atmosphere and 17,000 people in the park was, yeah, never forget it.
Is there a particular goal that really stands in the memory?
We had a player called Liam Robertson, again, probably 70s, 80s, and he was a masterful trickery, and he used to take the penalties, and he scored some spectacular goals, but I don't think anyone's going to beat Hiram's. The last few years, I remember the goal he scored in the second leg of the semi-final of the playoffs against Lincoln, when he started off with his own half, and then a great finish. And then the one this season, chest, flick, left foot volley into the far corner. So, yeah, I don't think you're going to beat those.
What's the best thing about supporting your local team, Exeter City? Do you feel so connected with it, maybe?
You do. I mean, it is a great club for the community. I mean, it's progressed so much now. I mean, I remember the years when we were in dire straits. I think they call it the Michael Jackson years, or whatever you want to call them, when the club was in turmoil. But to see the stadium now and the way it's run, and the crowds are, when we weren't doing very well years gone by, we struggled to get 2,000 maybe, but now we seem to have a strong 4,000 or 5,000 people behind the club, which can only get better as the team progresses. But it's just a great place to come, and not only for the home supporters. I think a lot of away fans will say it's a very good place to come.